what a weird week for the timepiece community. You had the whole debacle with the timepiece gentleman, which I stayed away from. Whatever you think about that, your opinion, I'm staying out of that stuff. And then you had the Just One More Watch channel taken down by YouTube for a counterfeit goods promotion claim, which was totally bogus. And I did a video on that one, basically sticking up for Jody over at Just One More Watch. And I'm glad that he was reinstated, so all good there. All is right with the world today. On my wrist today is going to be a something I cobbled together. This is a 36 millimeter. I guess 1016. I don't want to say too much about it. Homage. I wanted a 36 millimeter watch. Didn't really find one that I liked, and of course I can't afford the watch this is homaging, so I decided to make one for myself. And here is today's watch. This is the Lorier Gemini. As you guys know, this is a watch that I've been lusting after for over a year, pretty much since it had come out. This is the reverse panda version of it. But yeah, so got it in. So here are my thoughts today on it. It is a 38 millimeter case, a thickness of 13 millimeters, 47 millimeter lug to lug, drilled lugs there, making those strap changes very easy, and that will come into play in this review. 20 millimeter lug widths to this bracelet, which is one of the best bracelets I think that I have come across. Really ever. Wonderfully articulated. It tapers down to 16 at the clasp. So it is a domed plexiglass crystal today, sticking with the vintage style aesthetic that Lorier is known for. They use plexiglass in all of their watches for whatever reason. I think it's because the watches that they are basically homaging had plexiglass crystal. There is a good bit of distortion there that you get with this, and really cool, just like those old-timey watches from the 60s. And also an aluminum bezel. I think there's a lot to be said for an aluminum bezel. I think it gives off a wonderful color. It also doesn't show any fingerprints, and neither does the plexiglass crystal. So if you have ceramic, you're going to be wiping it down all day long. Of course, plexiglass not as durable as sapphire, but I think it works for this watch. So zooming in on the dial, you've got all applied indices, high polished silver indices. Well, let me wipe those fingerprints off. I guess it does. I guess it does show fingerprints, but really to the naked eye, unless you're zoomed in, you really can't see them. But all applied indices, silver indices. You've got two subdials, one at the 9 o'clock position that is registering the seconds, and then a 30-minute totalizer at the 3 o'clock position. It is a three-hander. Well, I guess it's not a three-hander. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-hander if you're counting these two subdials. Subdials have concentric circles, kind of adding a little bit of depth to those subdials. Yeah. Okay, so you've got the Lorier logo just below the 12 o'clock position, and just above the 6 o'clock position, Gemini written very small in red and manual. Manual, why? Because this watch is powered by a manual wind column wheel chronograph, the ST19. This is going to be the same movement that is in your Seagull 1963, so I like that movement, no problem there. The crown is a substantial crown. It's a pretty big crown there, signed with the Lorier logo, and like I said, it is manual wind, so winding the watch, it is just a push-pull crown, so you're not screwing it in. So the winding is pretty smooth, no problems there. It doesn't feel as good as my Hamilton Khaki Field Mechanical, but that's a Swiss movement. This is a Chinese movement. So the bezel, as I mentioned, is aluminum. It is a coin-edged bezel. It is 24 clicks, dual time zone bezel. So it is bi-directional, so you can go this way and you can go this way. It is a little bit hard to turn compared to the other Loriers that I have. but you can choose a second time zone if you wish. So usually I keep it to LA time because I got some friends out in LA, so it's nice to see what time it is in LA. So if I want to time the time zone in LA, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4 clicks in LA, the time there. So it is actually going to be 8. There you go, 8 o'clock time in LA there. And taking a look at the case back, it's a good looking case back. It's got the Laurier logo all around the edge of the case back. And I know there's a lot of reviewers out there that say, why would you do a solid case back and not a display case back for that Seagull 1963 vibe or the movement, the ST19, which is a good looking movement, but that would not go with the vintage aesthetic for, I don't know why I say aesthetic like that, but I always do. Yeah, I just think that would kind of take away from the vintage vibe of this watch for sure. So the bracelet, again, like I said, this is one of the best bracelets that I have come across. Many links that you can take out. Gosh, probably take out, I guess, 10 of them. So this would fit a very small wrist, a child's wrist, a lady's wrist, all good there. So will fit a variety of wrist sizes. The clasp, pretty good clasp. It's very non-intrusive. If you kind of look at it, it's almost the same width as the links and screw pins, by the way. So very nice there. So you hear my air conditioner kicking on. Yeah, I know, because it's hot. It's Southeast Texas, it's hot. 3 micro adjustments on the clasp, and of course the Laurier logo etched very nicely there. So to start the chronograph function of this watch, you simply push this top button, and you'll see that white, actually very cool, very beautiful white chronograph hand starts. The operation of this is very smooth. There's a very satisfying mechanical click when you start the chronograph. And to stop the chronograph, you simply push this button at the top again, and then to reset, boom, right back to the 12 o'clock position. So what do I like about this watch? Well, I like the size. I like 38 mil, really cool. It's the same size as their Neptune there. So I love the size. I think the dial, the glossy black dial, really kind of pops very nicely. Reverse Panda, so you're going to get white subdials there, you know, that I think are very legible. And I think the watch overall does a great job. So let's check out the lume. So the lume, I gotta be honest with you, is a little bit disappointing. I would have liked to see maybe what they did on their original Hydra version there, and I'll show you the original Hydra in just a second. But yeah, you know, you've got lume markers, or, you know, lume at the tips of each of the hour markers. They're a little bit difficult to see, and of course the hands and that lumed triangle at the top, that is what really stands out. So you're going to be able to see the time, but the lume is not something that's going to blow your socks off. And of course, I love the bracelet. Again, excellent bracelet with this. You're not going to be disappointed in any fashion with the bracelet. And the movement, I really like that ST19 movement. It's, you know, if you're gonna buy the movement itself, it's between $90 and maybe $120, depending on where you get it from. So it's something that you're gonna be able to replace should you have an issue with it. So I think longevity of this watch is probably pretty good. If you don't mind sinking a little bit of money into it down the road. I don't really think that movement's really worth servicing. It's probably just better to just replace it, since you know, this watch is a little bit on the expensive side. So you're not, I don't know. I don't even know anybody that does service those movements. So yeah, changing it out, probably a good idea. So what do I not like about this watch? Well, there's a few things, or maybe a couple of things that I don't like. The first thing is the bezel is really hard to turn. It's, you know, it is hard to turn. It's almost impossible to turn when you have it on your wrist. It's the tension of it is very stiff, And to be honest with you, I don't think that's going to loosen up over time. I think this is going to stay kind of, you know, in this difficult to turn fashion. The bezel being very thin, it makes it a little more difficult to grip as well. See, it's not the same like on the Neptune. Let me show you. So this is the Neptune, and the bezel is actually, I guess it's the same. But this is much easier to grip. I don't have any trouble. I think the tension on this is just perfect. And it did win my first annual Beazle Crank-Off, so check out that video if you haven't seen it. But yeah, very easy to grip, very satisfying. Great job on this bezel. The bezel on the Gemini, I don't know. It leaves a little bit to be desired. So the second thing that I don't like about this watch, I'm not a huge fan of what they did with the indices on the hour markers being high polished. It makes it a little bit difficult to read. As I'm holding this at an angle, if you notice the 5, 6, 7, and 8, they almost disappear. So it does, in lower light levels, make it a little bit difficult to see those indices for sure. I would have liked to see what they did on the Hydra, and I will show you this right now with the Hydra. So this is version 1 of the Hydra. They don't make this anymore, which I kind of get it. You know, why would you have 2 dive watches in your, you know, in your get up there? I think it was a little bit similar to the Neptune, so I guess they decided to dump it. But if you look at the indices, and I'm going to zoom in here, they are fully loomed indices, and I think those are just awesome. Awesome, awesome. I think this watch looks absolutely fantastic. And that would really add to the legibility of the lume for sure. And I think, yeah, I would like to see them maybe in the future relook at this for the chronograph style and maybe lume those indices. And so the next thing I don't like is, oh boy, this is going to be very controversial, I think, with a lot of people. And of course, my love for this particular aspect, it may not make sense at all to you, what I'm about to say. The bracelet. I don't think the bracelet works with this watch. I really don't. I just think that, you know, it's the same as on the Neptune. And if you look at the bracelet on the Neptune, that just, if you side by side, I think it works much better on the Neptune, personally, than it does on this Gemini. Just my personal opinion, I think this, man, awesome and really good price for the Neptune. This, I don't know, it just doesn't really work for me on my wrist, and that's why I'm having trouble connecting with this watch. It would have been neat for them to come up with another bracelet design for this. You know, you guys know I'm a bracelet guy, so I do love the bracelets, but I think using the same bracelet on every single watch might be a miss for this particular timepiece here. Here it is out in the wild on my 7.5-inch wrist. Yeah, it's a good looking watch. It's a great size. No problems there. You know, the bracelet, you know, for me, I don't think it works really that well. I think it works much better on a strap, which I will show you here. Yeah, I think this is where it's at. You know, the strap is where it's at on this. I think it adds so much more to the watch than the bracelet does. It sort of, you know, blends into your wrist when it's on the bracelet, and this kind of makes it really pop when it's on straps like this. And it is a strap monster, you know, black dial. I think you're going to be able to get, you know, a strap that I think you'll really connect with. So the bracelet, I'm complaining about it, and I'm going to show it to you on a couple of straps. And here it is on a black Mora NATO strap. I think this watch works much better on straps than it does on the bracelet. I'm going to show it on this one, and I'm going to show it on another one that I think is really cool. But yeah, I think on the bracelet, it's a little bit to be desired. So yeah, I think just overall better aesthetic on these straps here. Let me show you the other strap I got. And here it is on a beautiful red and black Omega NATO. for my money, the best NATO straps in the universe. Yeah, for my money, that is very expensive to get one of these straps. But yeah, I think it works great. I think this red plays off with the red of the Gemini logo there. Yeah, again, straps on this, super great. You know, and what do I tell you guys? I always say buy a watch on the bracelet, and then you can get, you know, some different straps later, because it's always harder to find the bracelet. Of course, this watch only comes on the bracelet. So, yeah, guys, you know, it is what it is. I think it's a pretty good attempt at a chronograph. For me, I just have a little bit of trouble connecting with it. I certainly connect a little bit better with it on the straps than I do on the bracelet. So yeah, guys, tell me what you think in the comments. Do you like it? Do you not like it? There's some hair on it. Yikes. Let me know in the comments, guys, and I will see you next time.